Okay guys, this is the AC Penn New York knife. That I've been working on. It says Hoey on the blade. It was rusty as could be. And I started sanding it down and I realized it said something. Hoey. Or however you pronounce that. H-O-E-Y. Still needs some work. Takes a long time sanding. Long time. Some of the parts I've been working on. Now the handle was all broke up. Well, one side was broke up good. The other side was just cracked up a little bit, I think. And that's why I'm doing all this, because it's an old knife, well over 100 years old. Okay, now I've got my little router table set up here, and I got a piece of wood set up like this. I'm gonna hold it flat up against the wood and take out, you know, about that much of the stone. Whoops. Take out about where my fingernail is there. Take that much out by rolling it right all the way through here. Cut a little chunk off that I'm gonna use. What I'm gonna do is actually finish this, I think, with the hacksaw. Whoopsie. You ever have one of those days where you're just tired? You are just tired and oh my God. No energy. Well, the way I should be doing this is putting this in a vise. And I should be using a new hacksaw blade. Look at that thing. Oh my goodness. I borrowed this. I'm gonna have to buy me a hacksaw. That thing is rough. This side don't look too bad on this end. We're using this side down here. Let's try again. Okay, one down. Now I gotta get a piece out of this one. And I'm gonna do the same thing. This is not the safest thing to do, so don't do this at home. Okay, so I just ground them down. I got them real close. As you can see, there's a little bit of an edge there. So I just got it close. Okay. And I went ahead and clamped it in there. And I went ahead and put, I took some of the pin stock Bought some Penn stock. Well, I used my digital caliper first. I measured the old pins that I took out of the broken handle, and I was able to get the exact same stuff. Okay, and this is stainless steel. So what I did is I went ahead and I mushroomed this end with this side of the hammer. But I did it before I even put it through here. Okay, I took and cut it, and then I beveled this end. You know, I made a point so it would go through nice and easy. And it went through. It was a little tighter in the handle than it was the brass. So I went ahead and just, once I got it in there and started, I just tapped it a little bit and it went right on through. So next I need to go ahead and cut this close. Then you want to put it on some hard metal and then peen this side. Okay, mushroom this side on there. But I went ahead and cut another one, and I'll kind of show you what I mean here. So I got another one here. And you want to make sure your metal's nice and flat. Like this definitely could use a little grinding on here to get it nice and flat this way. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to put it on. I ordered an anvil, but it's just not here yet, and I'm ready to get this done. Okay, I've got to grind this side just a little bit of a point. Okay, I definitely want to pin this some more, pin, whatever, because I feel like I could pull it through there, and I don't want to be able to do that. Okay, this is where I think I am going to wait until I get my anvil in. I hate to break these after putting so much time into them. And I can't promise I still won't break them, but I think my chances go down with some hard metal to put behind it. So another thing I plan on doing here, which is going to be very tough, is putting the shield on there, or the badge, or whatever. This has to go into, oops, I just lost a pin that fast. No, there it is. Whew. So this hole here gonna have a badge in it. And I want to Dremel this into the bone and recess it into the bone. So that's going to be a fun task. Until next time. Okay, so I got my anvil in. Anvil, however you say that. 24 pound. that ought to do the trick. That ought to make pinning these better and easier. But anyhow, I couldn't wait, so I ended up getting impatient, and I did it anyways. Now, one thing I did do is I ended up using my Dremel to dig into this bone enough to set the shield in there. And I didn't get it perfect, as you can see. I got it slightly a little off center, and you can see the hole is a little messed up. Now, I tried to just hold it on there and trace it with a pencil, and I just didn't do a good enough job. So it's really hard to tell by the eye. I'm really zoomed in here. And I mean, you can tell it's off center a little bit. Like the bottom has to go that way a tad. But I can live with that being my first one I done. My next try, on the next one I do, what I'm gonna try to see if I can do this right is just get a glue stick or something and glue onto this side of it. Something I can glue on there. Get some ink. Put the bottom side of this into the ink and stick it on there. And since this is beveled, you know, rounded, set it directly in the middle and be very, very careful and turn it like this till the ink hits all the way around it. And try it that way and see if that'll work better. That's what I'll try next. Unless anybody else has a better idea, please let me know. But I sanded it all down, and I'm gonna go over it again. I'm gonna try and pull. You can see it's got a mirror shine. It's a little dirty. Let me wipe it off a little bit real quick. That top half, anyways. This I need to sand a little bit more. I had it looking good at one point, pretty good anyhow. And then after, you know, having it on surfaces and doing this side, it kind of scratched it up a little bit. But I want it to look a little better than that. And the second piece, my belts kept breaking, so I ended up going and getting some more belts today and sanded it down a lot more on my belt sander. And if you look at this, when we hold it in there, you can see, you know, it's a little bit bigger. And that's how I did the last one too. I made it a little bigger. And if you look at this, at this angle, you can see I beveled it down on the ends. The ends are beveled down, so it's thicker out here in the middle, but right on the ends, about where the pin starts, I bevel it down to meet up with the metal. I think it turned out really nice that way. And I'm gonna do this one the same way. And you can see the colors look different because I still have to, you know, sand this down and polish it and on. I'm hoping it'll end up just like this one. Like all this thick blue here, it ought to come right off when I'm start sanding it down. But you can see it's definitely got a shine to it. I'm really happy with the way that turned out. Let's look at this one in the light. A little bit of a shine, but it's going to look a lot better like this one. So my next step is get this cut to size on the end so it'll fit down in there. So, you know, I'll Dremel that or sand that. I'm going to Dremel that down. Get it to where it'll fit in there, clamp it on, and then, you know, once I get it in there and clamped on there, I'll center it up right where I want it, clamp it on there, and then I'll start grinding the sides off. So let's get to it. Okay, so I got it clamped on there. I like where it's at. Double check, make sure everything looks good. Okay, then you get your drill. Got just a regular battery drill here. And my little tiny drill bit, I used this on the last one, so I know it's the right size. This drill bit is so small it wouldn't even fit in my drill, so I had to take some, I just took some sandpaper, wrapped it around it to build it up a little bit so that it would work. Crazy, huh? All right, here we go. Let's drill these 2 holes real quick. All right, next step is to put some pins in there. Okay, a quick demonstration on how the caliper works if you're not familiar with it is, so you just pretty much turn it on, hit the on button here, and you see it started with a different number, you know, closed up all the way. Well, there you go. So you just hit you make sure it's closed, hit the 0 button, and now this is the pin that came out of the handle here. Okay, now we know one side is mushroom, so you want to get away from the mushroom. The other side was grinded down, so I'm going to stay closer to that end, but try not to get on that end. And then you see I get 1.20 mm. I'm measuring in mm here. So we got 1.20. I was able to find the exact same stuff. Am I using the right stuff? There we go. This side, look at that. 1.21, 1.18, 1.18. It's very, very close. Okay. Very, very, very close. So this stuff worked good anyhow, okay? So pretty much that's how you use a caliper. Oh, if you wanted to measure in inches, so you would just press this button up here and it changes over to inches. Okay. Now I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, cut a piece off here. Make sure both ends are flat, right? I'll get a little bit of a longer piece, is fine. One of them actually, I'm gonna make a point. I'll make a point on one end, but before I make that point, I'm gonna go ahead and mushroom one side of it on this new anvil. I got a pair of these that cut this pretty good. I've used these quite a bit over the years, so I go to the very back as far as I can. I try to hold it so it don't fling all over the place. And this one's a little hard to cut there, but doing it that way didn't fling all over the place. Got me a little piece here started. Let's get this bad boy over here. To the back side. It's sticking out a little bit, not bad. Okay, then I got my holes drilled. I can take this clamp off of there now. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and cut this one off closer to where I want it. Okay, now I left quite a bit up, so what I'll do is I'll just use that same grinder. I'll get it down closer to where I feel like I want it before I start peening it. Okay, now I'll use this other one, flatten out both ends, and do the same thing. I left a little bit sticking out on both ends. I'm not exactly sure the right amount, but I'm just going to peen her down in there and on this anvil this time, which I didn't have last time, just another hammer. That's what I ended up using, a big hammer, and I laid it on the flattest part I could. So it's still cutting it real good, as you can see there. Now, one thing I do when I do it, I go to slight angle, not straight down. I go to slight angle, then I can really see what I'm doing, and I'll get it real close as I can. Just get it real close to that brass. But that little bit of an angle kind of, you know, bevels it a little bit too. So that's how I did the last one. I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and I'll show you how I do it. Okay, it's much easier for me to do this when I got both hands and I'm not trying to record it on a video, but you can see here that, you know, I'm beveling it in so it's a little rounded, like this one. You see it rounds over. And we don't want to just be flat right here. You want to round it over. So I put a little bit of an angle going across there, and it's much easier to work this thing with two hands. But that's what I'm going to start doing now, and then eventually I'm using sandpaper. It still looks rough as a cob there, but you know, I'll end up using sandpaper as well, and that really gets it smooth. You just don't want to take off a lot of this brass. You can see I still haven't quite got to the brass. You just don't want to take off a lot of that. You know, I'll maybe get a tad bit more here with the Dremel, but I'm going to mainly do sanding on that. I'll just get close and then do the sanding on the rest of the way. And I'm going to round these down quite a bit with the sander first. Okay. Okay, you can see I got it close. Got a little beveled on the edges, beveled on the ends. And now that I'm close like that, I'm switching over to my sanding discs. I got some 60 grit on here. It's kind of rough, but I'm gonna just use it and get my bevel a little longer, closer to the pin, and just kind of smooth things up a little bit. Okay, now the rest of all this is going to be hand sanding for me. So I got a whole slew of paper here. I just ordered this on Amazon. It starts at 120. It works its way up to 180, I think. No, wait, this one actually goes to 150. Then 180. And then 200 or does it go to 200? Goes straight to 240. And sometimes there, you know, you'll find 200 and 240 to 320 to 400 to 600 to 800 to 1,000 to 15 to 12. It should go to 1,200. 1,000 to 1,200, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, and then I also got some 5,000 here. But I'm gonna start at 240. Was it 240? No, you know what I'll do? I'll start at 180. I'm gonna start at 180, and I'm gonna work my way up. I'm gonna sand her all down good with 180. I'm gonna try to lower it a little bit. It's a little bit thicker than this handle here, just a little bit. So I'm gonna try to take a little off and maybe have to peen it a little more. I'm not quite sure, but I'm just gonna work on this for a little while. I'll show you how it works after a little bit. Okay, so I use this white diamond metal polish, and it is awesome stuff. Aluminum, brass, stainless steel. And I don't think it's gonna hurt that bone at all. I actually already hit it on this one, and this one turned out really nice, as you can see. I mean, just the polishing, you get that mirror shine, but once you put this on there, it definitely makes it look a little better. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do the white diamond. So you wanna shake it up good. Do this outside. Okay, you want to rub it in there a little bit until it turns black. Probably should be wearing gloves when you do this also. You can see it turn really black on there. I like to rub it in a little bit more. Okay, we're just gonna let that set now. You're supposed to let it set for a minute. Not perfect. It definitely could have used some more sanding, but it looks good. I think I'm gonna live with that.
Food is Gina's passion, but diabetes threatened to take her away. In Test 97, she learned how different foods affect her sugar levels in real time, so she doesn't have to choose between the food that she loves and her health. Like a relentless need.
Okay, I've got the two ends started, and I've got the middle one in the blade. In the handle and in the middle spring. Now I just gotta push down hard enough and pull up on this and maybe tap it in there, hopefully. Maybe I clamp it together. Got it. And here it is, my first knife restoration. So I got it all finished. and it is not perfect, but it turned out pretty decent. Some of the things I'm not happy with is the badge. You know, there you can see it's not perfect. My pinning skills need a little bit of work. That one turned out pretty decent there. I mean, you can see it, the one in that badge, but not like that one. See that one turned out a little rough. I think I put a little bit too much sanding on it, power sanding. This, I mean, you could see them all, and you could only see one of them when before I took it apart. So they did a really good job, and I need to learn exactly how to do that. The blades are not perfect. I would really like to get to the point where you cannot see anything except for a perfect mirror. And other than that, you know, I'm happy with it though. It's not too bad. You can still slightly see Hoey in the blade, and I really wanted to kind of leave that with the knife like that. I wanted to leave it in there. I could sand more and take it out, and I sharpened it, got a few little places on there, and I can buff that out. I'm sure that'll buff right out easily. And it looks really good down in there, doesn't it? Huh? It's really popping. Now, hold on one second. Okay, I just wanted to show you all the snap and wobble on this knife. It's got great snap. No wobble. And let's check out the little one. Oh, and one other thing I was slightly a little disappointed with was right here. When I was sanding, I did take a little bit of the New York out, if you see the pictures in the beginning, and maybe just a hair of the end off of this side. Hoey. But this side, not so bad. AC Penn, New York. Thanks, guys. And if you liked this video and you wanted to see me do this one next, this is going to be my next project. It's got a broken tip, and the handles were cracked up real bad on this. It was like a mother of pearl on this one. One side I don't think had anything, and the other side was just a cracked up one. I took them off and I started to actually make gemstone grips for it, but I got out of that. So I'm going to do the same thing and put some bone on this one, take it all apart, clean it up, and I'll try to make a better video this time. This is going to be the one. This one doesn't have really much snap at all, so hopefully I can make it a little bit stronger and fix that. And it definitely has some wobble in it. I'm gonna try and fix all this on this knife and hopefully get the pins like that. See where you could barely see that one, and you really can't see anything there. But hopefully I'll be able to do a better job and make this one look a little better to be my second restoration project. Thanks again, guys, and have a great day today.